Hey there everyone, welcome back as we take a look at the final segment from the semifinal match between Spector and Rosenthal in the 2022 USBCs. The Rosenthal team needs about 4 imps aboard if they want to come back and win this match, so I imagine some sparks will be flying in this segment. Let's take a look at the hands. Okay, so taking a look at the scorecard here, we see in the open room that there are a lot of doubled contracts. There's actually 2 redoubled contracts towards the end of the set. But in total, 31 imps to 31 imps, so the Rosenthal team did not make up any ground, and the Spector team went on to win this match pretty comfortably. Looking at kind of the state of the match decisions, I am a little surprised by some of the choices by the North-South pair for Spector in the open room. Letting the opponents play in redoubled contracts is very scary, because making that can produce a large swing, and yourself playing in a redoubled contract can also produce a fairly large swing. And that's kind of what you want to avoid when you're ahead by 60 imps going into a segment. You don't want large swings. So if the opponents double you, fine. Don't compound the problem of going down in a doubled contract by redoubling. So I'm a little curious to take a look at board 56 for that reason, because that produced a large swing. I mean, redoubling and going down 3 tricks, something must have gone terribly wrong in this auction. So let's actually take a look at that one first. I know normally I try and save one of the best hands for last, but I'm curious about this one, so let's jump in. We got East in first seat, opens no trump 11 to 15. This is one of those things you definitely need to be doing if you're way behind in a match. You need to create swings, and opening a no trump with a very unbalanced hand is one way to do it. I think the only alternative in their system would be to open a diamond. This hand feels fairly weak for a 1 club opener. They're playing precision, remember? So opening a diamond and planning to rebid 2 clubs is not really going to create a swing on this board. We would expect the same or a similar thing from the players in the other room. South doubles 1 no trump, which, given that 1 no trump is weak, 11 to 15 is normally for penalties, and South has a great hand for that. He has a good opening lead, plenty of protection, and at least 2 of the suits. So unless the opponents plan on taking the ace of clubs and running 6 heart tricks, this contract is going down. West redoubles, which is just announced as a relay to 2 clubs as a 1 suited escape. North has a bit of a tricky position here, because we kind of understand that the opponents are going to run. We expect either clubs or diamonds, more likely clubs, from our hand. And so bidding immediately can be important. We would kind of want to start showing our hand in case we have a major suit fit. But if the opponents do run to clubs, maybe the poor trump split is going to allow partner to double that contract, in which case we might want to pass right now, and when partner doubles 2 clubs, to pass that bid. Now our hand, of course, has very little defense against 2 clubs doubled, but partner is kind of the captain of this auction when he starts by making a penalty double of the 1 no trump bid. So I suppose it might depend a little on their agreements about whether or not a double over a 2 club run out or 2 diamond run out would be penalty immediately, or if it would be cooperative or takeout even. I think most players would play the double in front of the bid, the double in a balancing seat to be takeout, and vice versa. So most doubles would be takeout of the opponent's run-out suits. but yeah, we don't know their agreements, so it's hard to say what North's thinking about here. But yeah, so North elects to pass. Reasonable if you plan on passing partner's penalty double of some sort. And East bids 2 clubs, completing the relay, and South has maybe a tricky decision, so it looks to me like if South had a penalty double available of 2 clubs, he would have chosen that action, therefore 3 clubs just seems natural. I suppose from South's perspective, he's just now expecting that the opponents are going to be running to diamonds or hearts, and he wants to show his hand first. Maybe 3 clubs is a bit more forcing in this line than if we were to balance with a 3 club bid over, say, a 2 diamond bid from West or a 2 heart bid from West, as we might expect. So 3 clubs could come across as being a stronger action than passing the 2 club bid originally. Okay, so we bid 3 clubs. Passed by West, he's pretty happy to have escaped the penalty. And North now bids 4 hearts. I think this is a reasonable choice. It might depend a little on whether or not a 3 heart bid is forcing. Because if we can bid 3 hearts forcing in this kind of auction, then I would be very happy to do that. That would give us opportunities to explore for a spade fit, potentially, or find out if we do have a heart fit and want to play in hearts versus 3 no trump, for example. But maybe North-South don't have great agreements in this specific spot, and therefore they aren't confident that 3 hearts would be forcing. I suspect it should be, or even if it's not, it kind of feels like it's implied to be forcing in this kind of auction. I mean, 3 clubs is a new suit, 3 hearts would be a new suit. Although this kind of goes back to North's original pass, maybe the best choice for North would have been to bid 2 hearts originally over the redouble, if this was his plan all along, was to be in this tricky spot where he has to decide whether or not to jump to game. So North bids 4 hearts. East passes, and it seems pretty clear that North-South are not on the right page, or not on the same page when South bids 4 spades. Because now it sounds to me like South expected 3 hearts would have been forcing, therefore 4 hearts has to be some sort of bid in support of clubs, and South's 4 spade bid, the only thing I can take it for is a Q bid in support of clubs. He's looking for a slam, which is reasonable if partner's supporting clubs here, but I think I would be a little wary about being in an undiscussed auction with my partner here. So, okay, South bids 4 spades. None of these bids are alerted or explained, and North bids 5 clubs, which was now taken to be that 4 spades was taken as key card in hearts. South obviously didn't intend it that way, but who knows? Maybe South actually worked out that 4 hearts was natural, but then I imagine he would probably pull 5 clubs to 5 hearts later in the auction. So 5 clubs is announced as 1 key card with hearts as trump. East doubles 5 clubs. I guess at this point thinking that either the opponents are having a mistaken auction and maybe we'll get a little lucky by letting them play 5 clubs doubled, or maybe he's just asking for a club lead against, I'm not even sure what contract, because he's going to be on lead against hearts, and if the opponents end up in clubs, he's already pretty happy. So the double from the perspective of an even match score doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. If the opponents end in 5 clubs, we don't want to give North the opportunity to pull this double, right, to 5 hearts if the opponents are making a mistake. And if they aren't planning to end up in clubs, since we're on opening lead, we don't want to give away the fact that we have strong clubs or long clubs over here. But it's true that being down so many imps, you do need to generate some swings, and maybe East was hoping that 5 clubs doubled was just going to pass out somehow. It seems unlikely to me, but East really hit the jackpot on this one, because South passes, at this point probably thinking that his partner signed off in 5 clubs, and he has nothing more to say. And North elects to redouble, which North has fully bought into the fact that we are keycarding in hearts at this point, and so redouble is just showing first round control in clubs, which he has. He has a club void. I think if North had anything other than a void in clubs on this auction, he definitely would have pulled the 5 hearts to be safe, but he was fully trusting his partner's judgment here and trusting the auction that they were still playing in a heart contract. And when this passed out, North must have been pretty upset. So I guess we see that, you know, it can be tricky when you get into these undiscussed territories and auctions, or maybe they've had this discussion, but it was 2 or 3 years ago and they don't fully remember. I mean, I'm sure this kind of auction doesn't come up every day. So we get to 5 clubs redoubled in the South, and South is probably not very happy with this either at this point. And taking a look at the hand itself, it looks like Declare probably has a heart loser, spade loser, diamond loser, and maybe 2 club losers. So let's quickly step through the play. A lot of the times when you get into these disasters, I've found personally that sometimes it's okay to just check out for the hand, just make very normal plays, like let's start trying to pull trumps, let's just take all of our tricks if we can, and hope that we can reset for the next deal, right? You don't want to be steaming going into the next hand. So Declare now is hopeful that he can discard his spade loser on the hearts, but East drops in, taps Declare, and Declare loses a spade trick for 3 down and a 1,000-point swing. Let's see what happened at the other table. So at the other table, East opened a strong no trump, good 13 to 16, is what it's announced as. So they're probably playing the general 14 to 16 range, which makes a lot of sense with how light they open the bidding. That's what I preferred to do, is have a no trump range about this size and open a little lighter. South doubles, which maybe is penalties. I mean, it feels like it's penalties to me. And we can note that East elected to open this hand a no trump. He probably suspected, because he knows which players are going to be sitting in his seat at the other table, so he probably has done a little thinking, knows they're playing precision, and realized that East at the other table, trying to create a swing, might open this hand a no trump. So he's just hoping to kind of duplicate that auction a little bit. Yes, their no trump range is a little different, but nonetheless he's going to pretend that his hand is balanced the same way that the East player did in the other room. His other options would be to open a diamond and rebid 2 clubs, of course, or just open a club, showing his longer suit. Okay, so West bids 2 clubs as a transfer to diamond. So yeah, it does look like now at this point double was penalty, and West is trying to escape to 2 diamonds. North jumps to 4 hearts immediately in this auction. And yeah, we've kind of talked about this, that sometimes you just want to start bidding your hand immediately in these cases. You give up on the potential for a large penalty against, say, a 2 diamond contract, but you kind of win out when the opponent's head escaped to whatever their long suit was, and you just need to start describing your hand to find the right fit and decide if you want to play in game. So North elects to just bid 4 hearts, and I think that's probably pretty reasonable given the state of the match. Yes, it might be the case that we could find a spade fit and 2 hearts might be forcing, might not be. You run into these same kind of problems if you haven't really discussed this well with your partner, or if you're not all that confident in this sort of thing. But given that you're behind, bidding game and just hoping that it makes is a very reasonable choice, and South has nothing more to say, so they get to 4 hearts. In the heart contract, it does look like they probably have a diamond loser, spade loser, and a heart loser, at least. And they could have, I guess, an extra loser somewhere. I do see something interesting going on in the trump suit, which we can take a look at if it comes up. But from East's perspective, I would expect a high diamond lead. You know, it's possible his partner's 2-club bid doesn't show diamonds, but also that's our strongest suit. It's the most reasonable opening lead, so I expect that. Oh no! We've led the ace of clubs. Well, that's probably going to make the play in the hand a bit less interesting, unfortunately. I was a little excited about how Declare might handle the heart suit. But the ace of clubs is probably a reasonable lead. So what East is thinking about is he's trying to find a way that he can defeat 4 hearts, and so he needs to count to 3 tricks somehow. Now, of course, he knows that he could lead a high diamond and maybe set up a diamond trick, but if 2 clubs really did show diamonds, it's possible North has a singleton diamond, and therefore leading a diamond will only give up tempo. And without being able to set up a diamond trick, he would need to find his partner with 2 tricks somewhere. Well, the simplest way that we could envision that happening is if partner has a singleton club. We can lead the ace of clubs, give partner club ruff. When we get in with the ace of trumps, give partner another club ruff. And one of the nice things about this line is that we don't need partner to have any high card points for this to succeed, right? If we lead the king of diamonds, sure, we may have 3 defensive tricks, but we need another defensive trick somewhere, and therefore we're going to need partner to have high card points somewhere. Either the king of spades, maybe the jack of spades will be good enough, maybe the king of clubs will be necessary, maybe partner will need high card points and hearts. And given that partner's shown a weak hand, we can't guarantee that he has any high card points at all. So I like the ace of clubs lead. I think personally I would have gone with the safer approach of the king of diamonds, but that's just probably what East was thinking about on this hand when he chose his opening lead, and he found a way that he could get to 4 defensive tricks required to set the contract. So definitely something you should be considering when you're making your opening leads is, how am I beating this contract, at least at imps scoring. Unfortunately for East-West on this deal, this lead works out in a disastrous way because it sets up a club discard for Declare. So Declare gets to ruff this trick and probably lead a low heart, honestly. It feels like at this point we just want to hope for 3-2 spades, which will give us 1 spade loser. We can discard our diamond on the king of clubs. Oh, actually, we can just discard all of our spades on the king of clubs as well. So we should just be pulling trumps in whatever the safest way is. And depending on whether or not 2 clubs could contain a 5-card heart suit, which would be very unusual given that the opponents have opened a no trump, maybe we lead a high heart, maybe we lead a low heart, but one of those should be the choice. We lead the queen of hearts, which makes some sense to the ace. And now a diamond switch comes through. It is worth noting that we lead a low diamond. This is a strong play. Unfortunately, it's not going to matter all that much on this particular deal, but when we've opened a no trump, we've announced our high card points, and concealing those high card points whenever possible is a good thing to do. Now, you might think, oh, this is a little scary if Declare has the jack of diamonds, but Declare is never going to duck this diamond switch, right? We've set up all of his clubs. He knows that he can just pull however many trumps he needs, cross back to the ace of spades and run clubs, discarding his diamond losers. So this small little extra defensive asset that we have here conceals our diamond holding from declare in case that's ever relevant to the remainder of the defense. So declare wins the diamond ace, does cash the king of clubs to discard a diamond, and now is going to switch back to pulling trumps. He takes a heart finesse, which seems fairly natural, just in case we can pick up the suit that way. West does not rough in, and declare now gets to run clubs through West, discarding spades. And he will have to concede a heart trick, but that is 11 tricks for declare. So unfortunately, we don't get to look at what I was curious about in the heart suit. I will kind of quickly touch on that, which is that if we expect East to have at least 2 hearts, we can lead a high heart and cross to dummy to take a heart finesse. That would lose a heart to the ace, but then when Jack fourth of hearts is over here, so this is what happened during the actual deal, we end up losing 2 heart tricks, and if we set up a diamond, then we could also lose a diamond and a spade, potentially. Now maybe there's some alternatives for declare, like after winning the diamond ace at trick 1, he can lead a high club throwing a diamond, and then he won't have a spade trick at the end of the hand. So this contract was probably always safe, but an alternative would be to lead the 10 of hearts off dummy immediately. I know, I'm kind of jumping deep into the suit combination. I just find it fascinating that the 8 of hearts can actually provide a trick. And so as declare, if we lead the 10 of hearts off dummy, if West doesn't cover this trick, we take a heart finesse, it goes to the ace, and then we'll be able to lead a heart to the 9, knowing that the first heart finesse won, and that would pick up the suit. But if the 10 of hearts actually gets covered by West with the jack, declare can cover, the ace of hearts will win, and now declare will be in this position where he can elect to play a heart to the 7 as a very deep finesse for the jack 8 fourth of hearts on side, or he can just play the king and 9 of hearts next, hoping that the suit splits 3-2. So this is one of those weird spots where if declare leads the 10 of hearts, we should probably cover with West's hand on this specific layout. But all right, interesting deal. So I'm guessing that North-South probably didn't expect to win a sizable swing on this board, but they do, 16 imps, because there's a bidding misunderstanding in the open room for the Spector team. And let's take a quick look at this last board of the segment. I know there are some more redoubled contracts here. I think I've said all I want to say about this. I don't think that we want to be giving the opponents the opportunity to create some of these large swings, especially if these contracts are making. But let's take a look at board 60. This is probably going to be more normal bridge, as we could consider it. So West opened a diamond in first seat, showing 10 to 15, 2 or more diamonds. They're playing precision. And West has 12. Despite the singleton king of clubs, this is well within their normal opening range. East bid 2 clubs, 4 or more clubs forcing. I wonder if this is game forcing. I think most precision players play this as just forcing one round, but I'm not certain. And 3 no trump was said to be 4-4-4-1 with a non-minimum opener. Okay, it's questionable, although now knowing that partner has clubs or king of clubs has a little bit more weight. So they reach 3 no trump. North has anyone's guess as to what opening lead to choose. I would probably lead a heart, but we could see a 4th best diamond lead. We could see a spade lead because that suit is maybe a little stronger than hearts overall. North elects to lead a heart. And declare, it seems, has quite a few tricks. He has 4 heart tricks, 2 club tricks, 2 spade tricks at a bare minimum. He can set up another club just by knocking out the queen. That seems like the safest route to 9 tricks. He could try for 3-3 spades, he could play on diamonds, but neither one of those are guaranteed, so I imagine we're going to see something that looks kind of like win a heart, unblock the king of clubs, cross back in hearts, play ace of clubs in a club. Oh, maybe that's not great. Maybe we need to set up our spade tricks first. Well, so there is a couple of hurdles to overcome, but I think Declara is going to figure out a way to safely guarantee 9 tricks, and we'll probably go after that. So Declara does win the heart, does unblock the king of clubs, probably needs to start on spades at this point. Oh, he doesn't. He leads our heart to the ace. And now we can duck a club, which is 100% safe. So Declara does duck a club. Now he still has 2 club stoppers remaining, so even if the opponent's clubs split in a really, really bad fashion, he would be in time to win the next club, set up his spade tricks, and then still have a club stopper remaining. I guess communications are getting a little tight, so if the opponents did lead hearts now, Declara might be forced to cash all of his club winners, otherwise they could get stranded. But let's see what happens. Declara does get a heart return, does cash his club winners. Oh, cashes 1 club. Is this safe? So we have 5 tricks in right now, and we have 2 spades and a heart. But what about the stranded jack of clubs? I'm just thinking that if the opponents have a long spade suit, for example, if South has a long spade suit, then playing on spades now can allow them to duck a few spades, denying the jack of clubs as a dummy entry, and then just continuously play spades. They won't have to break diamonds for us, which could give up in the 9th trick back to Declara. Yeah, so this doesn't seem safe, but it is also possible that East here has kind of... Who's declaring? West. That West has just kind of conceded the match at this point. I know it's a little lazy, and that's kind of disappointing. But yes, cashing the club... Oh, you know what it is? If we cash the club, the opponents have 4 tricks to cash. So we do need to play on spades immediately. Okay, sorry. This is turning out to be quite an interesting deal because the communications are so scarce. Alright, so Declara now does lead spades, which I was just not even looking at the opponent's prospects of cashing out diamonds and spades, but yes, having aces and kings and no trump is still good. Who would have thought? So we play a spade, yep, to the king. And now we should just be playing on spades at this point. I think it would be very strange to do anything else. So we play a spade back to the jack. And I wonder if South is going to duck this. Yeah. Yeah, South does duck. And oh my, man, so we could talk a little the same about the king of hearts could get stranded, but if West cashes the king of hearts now, dummy actually gets squeezed on this trick. He can't throw a club, and he can't discard a diamond, so he would have to discard a spade, but then that allows the opponents to not duck the second round of spades. Wow, what a fascinating deal. It's a shame that this happened so late in the match. Otherwise, I think this would be more relevant to the overall score. But okay, so this is actually beautiful defense by North-South. I hadn't even considered this, but it does look like Declara's entries got a little tangled. So I wonder if there was a different line of play earlier in the hand that would have avoided this problem. And yes, I would say that Declara should be aware of these issues when he is making his choices early in the deal. Okay, so Declare now does, once again, can't cash the Jack of Clubs, otherwise that will concede enough tricks when the opponents get in, and exits a spade, but a club gets returned to the dummy, and East leads a diamond, but South is able to hop up with a king. He probably has a full count on Declare's hand at this point, so he knows that Declare doesn't have the diamond ace, and he can cash a club and then play a diamond to his partner's ace to beat the contract a trick. Wow, well done by North-South. That was, I would say, a beautiful defense after what may have been a slip-up by Declare. It's hard to say without going deep into the analysis. Let's take a look at what happened at the other table. Here, West opened a diamond, natural. East bid 2 clubs, and so this is a game-forcing bid from East. So West bids 2 no trump to just say that he has a balanced type hand, which makes a lot of sense. The singleton club opposite his partner's natural club suit is not great. And East bids 3 no trump. He has nothing more to say, just 15 high card points, so no reason to get too aggressive. If partner invites a slam, then East will kind of come to life and show his extra values, but for now, just a bare minimum 15 for triple 3. No reason to overreach on this deal. And North, once again, it looks like is choosing between hearts and spades. I expect a heart again, and North does lead a heart at trick 1. It's interesting to note that at this table, they led the 9 of hearts. At the other table, they chose to lead the 8 of hearts. That could just be a different style in opening leads, or maybe they were trying to convey different information by those leads. So I know we've talked a little bit about it. Let's just see how this Declare. West, Vince DeMoy, elects to play this contract. So he does win a middle heart, and he goes after spades immediately. Yeah, let's see if this works out any differently for him. So spade goes to the king, and now he leads diamonds. Oh, you know what I hadn't considered? Declare can absolutely set up an extra trick in diamonds, because he is missing the ace, king, and 10, but he has 4 of them: queen, jack, 9, and 8. So even if he misguesses a finesse for the diamond 10, he will be able to set up an extra trick in that suit. And if he doesn't misguess the diamond 10, then he'll be able to quickly set up an extra trick in diamonds. Now, I can't say whether or not this is because Declare had envisioned the line of play that happened at the other table and realized that his entries were getting squeezed a little bit, and therefore maybe entries getting squeezed is not the right way to put it, because that's a real term, but his entries were getting compromised a little bit in the 2 hands, and realized that the other line of play wasn't going to be fruitful unless clubs were 4-4 between the opponent's hands. So that could be the reason why Declare at this table goes after diamonds. Let's see if it works out better for him. He puts in the 8 of diamonds, and I think I like this decision. If we're going to finesse one player for the diamond 10, it should be North, given the opening heart lead. We would expect North to lead a 4th best card from a long suit. Therefore, when North leads the 9 of hearts, it is indicating heart shortness. And if North has heart shortness, well, why isn't he leading his long suit? It's probably because it's a minor, and therefore it could be clubs, but it also might be diamonds. So we would expect North on average to hold the diamond 10 more often than South. Once the 8 of diamonds forces the king, now I think West is in great shape to make his contract. The opponents do continue attacking the heart suit, so heart gets led back, Declare wins the ace, and now chooses to unblock the king of clubs, with the jack of hearts being the last entry to the dummy. And now he leads diamond towards the queen. East hops up with the diamond ace, but this probably isn't going to help in any way. Maybe a stronger defense would have been to duck the ace of diamonds, stepping back for a second to take a look at that. Because communication does get cut a little bit, and if we use the jack of hearts as an entry to the ace of clubs, the king of hearts gets a little bit stranded. So there is a bit of downside to that potential, and also the diamond suit gets stranded. But in this case, ooh, Declare plays the 6 of diamonds. I wonder why that is, rather than unblocking the queen. Well, I'm not going to think too hard about it. I'm sure this Declare has vastly outcalculated me at this point because he's been more involved in the hand than I have. But so we've blocked our diamond suit a little bit. Although I guess with the 10 of diamonds still back, there's no reason to give up on taking 2 extra tricks in the suit, but okay. The jack of hearts goes to the king. We get to cash the 10 of hearts, throwing a club, sure. Now Declare elects to set up his last spade while he's safe. The opponents can't cash any tricks, and he still has an entry back to the club ace. So spade goes to the jack, south ducks, queen of diamonds is led. And, okay, this is, I guess, yeah, this is pretty well played by Declare in the end position, handling the final couple tricks. At this point, he leads a spade, south has to win the ace, and is now end played into leading a club. Even if Declare ended up losing 2 spade tricks at this point, by leading a spade, south shows out, north wins the ace and 10, we would still be left with winners in either hand, the jack of diamonds and the ace of clubs, so north, whatever minor card he had left, would have to lead into our winner, and that would be our 9th trick. So, yeah, very well played by Declare at this table, and this shows like an enormous amount of resilience and stamina at the end of the 6th day of competition. Possibly more. I don't actually know if a round robin was played before this to cut the field down to 16 teams, but West, after 6 grueling days of play, is still able to work hard for an over trick at teams in this 3 no trump contract. And yeah, so that's going to wrap up the match. So overall in this segment, 31 imps to 31 imps, and let's see, if we click back to scores, Spector comfortably wins their match against Rosenthal to close out the semifinals, and it looks like they're going to be playing up against the Nickel team, which has pretty much the same members that they've had for about 40 years on it. Maybe it hasn't been that long, but they've been around for quite a while and are real staples in the US bridge community. We have Steve Weinstein and Bobby Levin, Eric Greco and Jeff Hampson, these are the partnerships, and Ralph Katz and Nick Nickel is their team, as they kind of handily defeated the Fleischer team in their semifinal match. So that's going to wrap up the semifinals, and we're going to take a look at the first segment of Spector versus Nickel tomorrow. See you then.